Hum, 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 hum. Dita da churona ba le depar de hong dita da di sama di san nang ni ju tamche hong a jorgo do se ri lo sharing gore de sala de muni chi ma de ma to ba ri ma to ba ne don ni de nang ni ju tamche muni chawang ma da ta ki dang 찌짱 맞아 버리. 이 로그 나도거지. 박차도들이 주마타서 콘데지가 주마타서 망지 요런데 낭동 좀 잘돼. 들이 주바치 보여는 거 보레스 말레스. 들이 차과 나와. 리마에서 들이 차과지 뭐니 차 어디다가 고도. 나한테 내가 네 보고 어디 배다들이 뭐 어떤 팀만도 바틀들이 차당이 오는 거래. 얘네들이 또 박차 이자들이 차대요. 그래서 난 무고양 말이지. 낭들이 당시 야통따버리지. 매와 말이지. 이 야통따버리지. 이 샤르디가 지금 뭐지? 우리는 누바타 차버리지. 내도 탈뚝사들이 요 말이지. 낭동지. 낭지 동ting 낭성. 这种是啥呢？这些的，就当时大瓦个人，我这些都是这样的这说过有的，东南问题吧的，他出的，他的让东这边是，让东啥东，让东各种些的呢，来个家从到来个人些，讲你家从到人些，让东送到些的呢，咋的，咱们那么多啥呢？这个这里，咱东直接多吧。 다지 딱게는 로그데 동당이 무슨 저거는 맞아 돈을 다지 저거 다 거야 더 가서 돈을 다 맞아 다 되는 니가 지금 독 되는 건 독산도 이제 요 말이 야, 다 똑바니. 마독산도 이제 요 말 다 거야. 대로들이 니가 돼. 류드메 봐되네. 대로들이 나동 거 작동성 르동 톡도제도 대선 니들이 자들이 생물을 동 톡도제도 세부 직장만 되는 거 보면 되는 거 뭐든 가능면 돼 세부 내록 도더더니 그냥 semble l'abdetude son ça je me non dola 책대 계시고 그냥 semble l'abdetude son 그렇지 그냥 나삼 sem서 sem포 사고 하고도 살탑들 가야 맞지 이렇게들 사동 나지 그 sem포를 하시대리 대답은 semble 좀 좋다고 요말 박차 좋다고 요말 팀들이 요미 쪽 사람들이 야인디 박차요 말 박차요는 지들이 다 되는 코데 박차들은 뭐 들이 대쪽이다 망고 레 남만미 다지 양당은 코로도 들이 되는데들이 대로 샤용을 로가로 나와 다마다 니가 다른 고고주하는 샤용을 너나들이들 조금 그런 가격 넘버다 생각 받다 버리지 말하기 위해서 남카서 생각 남과 침을 주고 롱지 줘 봐서 대 생축거래스 랑롱 강샤 동선 저 밤에서 어떻게 가능한지 찌암을 seb라데 줄수 사실 동태 가리 샬거나 벤더다 문이지라 무슨 거를 보자 두고요 너는 거를 보지 문이서 뭔가 샤르를 때가 깨자시가 독사나 어때를 가창 양사비도 좀 그래 다시 가려서 딱 째다를 상보를 차라 좀 니바를 당해서 자기가 마저 야자라 샘포그랑 오면 때때 대토고 뒤강리들이 롱도 생길라 다시 기다시에 토고요 기다시를 데미데 누가 매번 이게 닌 누구를 보지 해서는 제로를 팔리대 랑을 로리 샤용하면 되나 랑의 양쪽 자들 그다 들리때는 담을 샤들이 받치들이 누구요 논나더니 강산 즈미데 강산 즈미 살은 즈미랑 셈데서 이 말이 베테서 말이 살은 즈미랑 셈데 저기 방 오시나 대충 따라서 많이 해서 너 장이 가시는 많이 샤들 때다이 내가 들이는 다 가려는 들이 거다시 만다지는 아주 저래 들이서 다 탐지 홍을 저르드네 홍을 저르고요 말 무보리 사게 된 처발이 저는 무보미 방 본지 그래 오 들이 요미 뜻도 마삼네 들이 내록 도자 저 들이 로뚜도 그런 저도 요래 박사주고 요 말에 대도 그런 것들이 랑종 강차 동산 중이 가이셔 마지스 김이가다서 털 내록만 송진 임베타고 제자 내록만 다 책고 온다 송 책만 보면 내록 되는 랑그 상그 내록 되라 때들 가이셔 파티 지스마당 지스마당 내록은 야야 들이랑 샤랑 저도 들다다 저도 쪽것에 송들이 나도 샤와 롱도 같이 비트고 이 생크롱들이 그것을 저러라 제들이 정말 그것을 저러라 생크롱을 해야 요래
So then we come to the next page, the method for settling the mind on page 16. So it begins with the pure and open space of the ineffable awakened mind is self-arisen, empty clarity, free of grasping to whatever may arise. So this is the space-like nature of the mind, this pure and open space of the awakened mind. And that's the Dharmakaya. Milarepa had said when you recognize that mind and space are indivisible, then you have realized the Dharmakaya. So the mind is the Dharmakaya, and it is empty clarity, free of grasping to whatever may arise. So do not grasp at anything whatsoever. In the Mahamudra teachings, it is said, without a single thought, look decisively at the ultimate meaning. So now we practice Guru Rinpoche, so we visualize Guru Rinpoche, and maybe some people might have this experience that, oh, Guru Rinpoche really appeared to me and he even talked to me. And when you feel very pleased about that, then again the fault of grasping arises. So without thinking about anything, let arise what may arise. Once you start to grasp, the flaw of clinging to like a pleasant experience arises, and also the fault of having an aversion against a negative experience arises. Do not grasp at anything whatsoever, but rest within the natural projection of your own mind, the self-light of your own mind. Then it might be that momentarily something appears and even gives a prophecy and talks and so on, but do not cling to that, to whatever appears. So that is when we encounter obstacles, when we begin to cling and think that, oh, this is what happened, he really appeared to me and really talked to me and really gave a prophecy and so on. Because once you start clinging to it, once you believe that there really is something, there was something, that's actually when it stops again, when these experiences are interrupted. And then many obstacles arise from that, from such fixations. So therefore, do not cling to whatever arises. Also, then Milarepa had said, when do not cling to whatever arises within the mind as real, and when there is no grasping at anything as real, from this then just spontaneously the various pure forms and the pure lands will manifest, will appear. So also the point here is the spontaneous, because when we say we meditate on everything as Hong, then it's not actually the case that we are transforming everything that exists into Hong. It's not like that. We don't need to even transform anything, because nothing really exists. So there is this thought in our mind that what we perceive, this world, is real. We think that something really exists, that everything really exists, or we think that nothing really exists. And that's the deluded thought, the confusion. That is what is actually, that is what disintegrates when you visualize the Hong. So without thinking anything, neither thinking that things exist nor that they do not exist, without a single thought, you just look at the mind and just rest within the natural state of the mind, and then naturally no habitual imprints will be placed within the mind. So therefore, without a single thought, you look decisively at your true nature. So then it says, so cut the tethers of clinging to perceiver and perceived, rest within the natural condition that is unborn, primordially pure and unimpeded. So basically, only don't think about too many things. Don't try to remember too many things. Just hold on to these words and do not grasp at anything whatsoever. Rest within the natural state and do not grasp at anything whatsoever. And whatever thought arises within the mind, let it arise and do not pursue it. Do not follow whatever arises. And so then whatever arises becomes self-liberated. And we have said that the natural liberation of all arising or all appearance is the Nirmanakaya. So the shining forth is the Sambhogakaya, like a rainbow, and then the natural liberation is the Nirmanakaya. So we have said that everything has the nature, or spontaneously has the nature of the three kayas, or naturally. That's the natural state of everything. So these are the only words to hold on to here.
그런데 이게 총총도 다지 시장 통고보도지 인나들이 몇 가지 홍 야르지 홍고 또랑 담비를 홍홍고 나또 초와지 나또 양심을 초와 자당 모습 또봐 김이 또봐서 지를 초와고 내가 갑자기 초와들 홍그 검성지 초와들 힘도요 이 너네들이 또랑 담비를 뒤시 봐요 던데 와서다 이 라니 소dim나 좀 또랑 가대나 이 좋은 차 냐는도 샘락도 저제면 냠니 연소 말이 베리 너나 건데 그럼 저기 장대에서 이제 또 ጭ바리데 나도 소에서 성하고 고글들이 홍들들이 라인 나와당 나와라 대라상 라광하 대라상 라돈지서와 그 책도 되는 이게 책 담으라 시험 때로 초아시는 초아대 하고 그래 초아대 샘나 탐술도 박차야 그래 초아대 시바제가 초는 박차적이요 말이 맨날 니 나도 싫어 그래 미키를 좀 마음을 봐 싫어도 이 지식 쳐서 그래 샘상 맞아야 지비시라 그래 되게 싫어 박차 맞아 샘코는 라시들 하장 싸움만 차는 들이 동당고 대바지 생 하장 싸움만 차나 들이 동당고 대바 산재 용tin 30 용소 동대 빼나 니 누가 짜자다다 짜 탐시 짜래디 짜 가지고 다 남을 조요래디 짜가 다만 탈톡 받았다 그래디 짜가 다만 탈톡 받지 노디 다 빼는 잡이는这样的，但是从小走的就嘛的，怕啥的？你国家有啊，茶样没吧？你熟这样慢样吧，那你就嘛的，怕啥的？熟可以就嘛难熟呢？你不남자就有的，怕当可难熟都是打成的那个有的，可难熟样都不要呢。但是呢，这个的样的可那个有的，这把茶有，呀，这给了这样家给的茶嘛的，那你没被来啥？第到家一直都是结巴当，什么就都是把背，家就当嘛个家就会有的是，我把那个带送过去，家个当嘛个家就会有的是，什么当嘛个什么什么都可以，上去中间这个什么就会，什么当嘛这个什么你人都会有的是，你是不是系统都会有的是，这种中间的，这红就当然上面拍个有哈过呢。你知道红你看了工作的，你那几场就你看了大把红工弄的，老张那个那学呢，你看成个有啥嘞？这是他讲的呢，那多学起我这教呢，那教呢，你这红工的这那个老牙多少了，这里先多少我们都，就是说了这道的，这里你第二了讲呢，这里红第二了讲的，第二了才知道，弄的里把弄松，你啥子呢？마디는 발롱종들이 발롱데 셈부 다만 제시던 데와 요래 가능한 롱마타고 가능한 롱들 레롱스 이 대지서더니 소아티와데 레롱이 이 제시 뭐요와 되더니 다 이식의 롱데 대장들이 가능한 롱마죠 롱데 대와는 대대 홍홍홍홍 변나 대게 이제 뒤서 보고 소리들이 뭐 관담을 거나 나타tab지 다 타고 요래서 당선은 다 중성을 빼는 것을 이제 초아 속칭보다 제는 납상이 초아 대냠되더니 홍공서는 은혜 미로 대마다 미로도 빼는 누가 용나 납상 때를 홍길들 누가 초아디 딸미 받아고도 대 나기더니 진주가 롱토서 롱 칼라라서가 나타탐지 롱리송가 나타탐지 홍대광들은 홍대가 되지 초아디 떠오르나 그렇게 다 나타야 떠오르는 거요. 나타 맨날 오 사람들은 나타 좋은 거요. 나타 오는 매 사람들 다 좋고요. 별말 아니네 다다 이제 뒤에서 무슨 게 배에서 조금 나타가 강제요. 세상 발선 다 뭐가는 침반에서 강제지. 딱 강해다 내가 채워 참도 총총 망보는 것도 제리 배세다를 문이들이 통주 제력서 제가 비용치 뭐요래 이 말하면 가리 홍도 제인처나 제인처로 이 세마서 파사지를 쳤지 야고 아니 제리 잠재 제리 대삼제다 내 되면 가리 다시 상황 느끼 담이 홍보나 이 저거 선한 느끼 같이 막나 또 많이 이건 작용을 저우리 또 많이 가리다 홍으리 또 많이 시바들 니지 미바 좀바 미바 때 동반이라고 요리 신들은 저바가 들이 똑바서 오면 저바는 고아주고 요리 들이 생각하는 하실이 야잖아 다슴 동반이 시바들 니지 미 동반이 그때 하자 같이 버리게 중요 통음도 동생 하 내면 주체 배봐 너도 교람 참치를 드리지 고요래 초아지 뭐 참치 되는 것이나 그러지 사람 느끼 담지 문이 동당한테 동당 맞아봐야 하고 그래 문이 맞아봐가 문이 레시 착해 그래시 다된 처바를 심진 처바지나 잡을래가 사강은 저서 요서 하고 하래거지 다된 건 깔면 도롱 나고 깔 고마리를 깔만 잠깐 터져라 이제 그 사강 담시 주제면 터져래 오된 주제 뭐다 봐 사지 그 납사라 하래야 그 사지 책을 상고다나 다 능력이 탐색되는 저 바를 송아리 저기 능력이 저 바도 또나 저기 생코로 제셔매 봐지 저기 저다 좀 참이 처음이데 샘을 제셔매 봐지 샘을 제셔매 봐 루지 제셔매 봐 말이 저기 데려들이다 저바 탐색이 힘다지 찍은들이 그래서 다 무슨 얘도 원래 탐색 가려는 데는 생물 내로 생장만 써주는데 초장 하선 생장만 타토가도 니지 매바는데 니지 우리 세대 쪽발이자 저도 엉망이지 생 쪽발은 들이 되라 내다 박차 내 영사요래 그것도 좀 내서 매봤으나 따뜻히 이 우리 정대 되라 다 내사 되라 대좀디 차장을 또봐 내사 영사요래 뒤 박차 요래 니면아 내상 핀사면 이 요말 생활은 니면에 똑같이 뭐좀 되는 데바드는 맞다가 따라하려고 아무래도 내로 마시를 갈 때도 줄라 좀 되래 lokta 하고만들 거리 나도 돈당 문이 됐다 차요 레지 그래서 혼는다고 요래 홈 교차지더니 깨양 메시를 라데 쳐서라다 야 홈 요새한테 진짜요 말아 뛰어나 내더니 라데 쳐서 다 주라고 생남도 매번 샘때 랑랑 하고서 따와 탐지 되는데 송 대다와 송고래 들이대 라제 마제 공바제 롱고제들 공바제들은 동남고 대마제 송고래 이거는 본대가 싸라는 데서 대다
So then there's this small print here, and I don't see it so well. But so to summarize it, so at all times, sustain awareness of the home. So also when you're going to sleep, when you're lying down, meditate on the home, and in all of your daily activities, meditate on the home. So what in your daily activities, now whatever feeling arises in the mind, whatever thought of attachment, aversion, or ignorance, virtuous or non-virtuous, positive or negative thoughts arise in the mind, meditate on the home. When you meditate on the home, then all grasping will disappear. And so that is related to verse number 36 and the 37 practices. In brief, in whatever you do, be mindful. Look at the state of your mind. Also, Milarepa had said, in all activities, whether you are walking or sitting or standing or lying down, look at your mind. This is how you practice continuously. So that's related to that verse in the 37 practices. Whatever thought arises, remember Hong. All appearances are the deity, and all sounds are the mantra. When you see appearances in this way, you will not, when you do not grasp at appearances, you will see appearances as the deity. And sounds become mantra when there is no grasping at sound. So normally we have those thoughts that grasp at the thing perceived, they kind of mingle the thing perceived with the concept about that thing in the mind. So all of these graspings at thought become purified if you do not cling to them, and every sound then becomes the mantra. So it relates to the words that we hear, and so forth. And ultimately, in the end, everything gathers in the mind, which is the vajra of awareness, the empty awareness. Everything gathers in the mind, and when there is no grasping, no imprint is formed within the mind. So when you recognize the feelings and thoughts in your mind, then no imprints will appear in your mind. Then instantly they will purify, just like you are wiping off tears and so on. So you are cleaning the mind continuously through mindfulness. So that which cleans the mind is mindfulness. And when there's mindfulness, no imprints are placed within the mind. And when there are no imprints placed in the mind remains in its natural, pure state, completely pure state. And that is the ultimate nature of the mind from which all the enlightened qualities of a Buddha arise. So it is the kind of pure essence, the refined essence of the mind that is very pliable. For example, it is similar, there's this kind of sword, kind of a knife they make in Japan. It is very pliable, so you can bend it in any way, but also it doesn't break. And it is completely sharp. So when you straighten it, it's straight, and when you bend it, it is bent. But it can cut through itself. It is that sharp. So just like that, one tames with the refined essence, the sharp, refined essence of the mind. One tames the mind itself. Otherwise, if the mind is not tamed, then again one will become attached and accumulate karma with afflictive emotions. So just like this kind of completely refined, sharp knife, sword, cut itself, also the mind, the refined essence of the mind tames the mind. And the Buddha had said that the essence of the Buddha's teachings is to tame your own mind. So the refined, pure state of the mind is this non-dual primordial wisdom, and that is the syllable Hong. So recognize that, have this awareness that all the the heartbeat going through the channels of your body are the reverberation of the Hong. So sometimes it is said that one should visualize the Hong at the heart level. But there's also a danger that when the focus is at the heart, that your winds then enter the heart, and that could lead to all kinds of problems. So therefore, it is also advisable to meditate on the navel, because sometimes when a very strong feeling arises, a very strong thought arises, naturally the winds go into the heart center. And when they get stuck there, then when the winds get stuck there, then one becomes controlled by the karmic winds. So then these feelings that are there then will lead to a lack of mindfulness, and then one engages in various actions. So the karmic winds then take one. And so one loses mindfulness. So these are the karmic winds, and then the wisdom winds is basically mindfulness, is the syllable Hong. So that is, because there is this danger in the heart, it is advisable to meditate on the navel single-pointedly, while while expressing, letting out the Hong. And also, actually, the visualization of the Hong is very beneficial for visualization when it comes to illnesses. And Thich Nhat Hanh, for example, he teaches various visualizations for different kinds of illnesses, which are really very helpful for healing various illnesses. Also has helped myself a lot. I have a lot of little illnesses. I'm here and there. And so some people have greater illnesses. And then together with that illness of pain, a feeling arises that we cling to. So then we become kind of attached, we grasp at that feeling. But when you meditate on the Hong instead, then that will actually go away. In that moment, then the feeling of pain and so forth will go away. Or if the blood is rising, I guess it could lead to a stroke and so on. And then you meditate, that feeling arises through you, right? And you visualize the Hong, then it will go away. Whenever you experience any kind of pain or an attachment to anything whatsoever, then you visualize the Hong and it will go away. So if you think it's there, if you think the illness is there, then often it really is there. And if you think it's not there, then even if it is there, then you might be healed from it. So these visualizations by Thich Nhat Hanh has really helped me personally a lot, because my body is completely filled with all kinds of ailments, outer, inner, and secret. Of course, not anything major, only many little small things. And I found this practice extremely beneficial for that. So if you meditate on the Hong, then the pain and the illness and so forth really goes away. And when you go to sleep, remember the Hong, and the moment you wake up, whenever you wake up, instantly again, remember Hong Hong. And at all times, have your awareness at your pulse being Hong. And in this way, mindfulness is always sustained. So when you practice the Hong, so we have said you should see that the entire outer universe, outer and inner, all becomes Hong. And what that Hong really is, it means that no matter how vast the outer universe is, its ultimate nature is emptiness. Nothing really inherently exists. So the emptiness, that is the Hong. Emptiness is the lack of duality. So this state of not grasping at any duality is what we call emptiness. When there's grasping in the mind becomes defiled again, and this is what creates samsara. And then just naturally, karmic imprints are being developed in the mind, which is actually empty and non-dual. And so then, grasping at a duality, one will not see the true nature of the mind. And so for this reason, it's necessary to sustain this visualization of the mantra recitation, which is here the Hong, throughout all activities. And within such a state, recognize all those feelings that arise within your mind on an inner and outer level. And nothing whatsoever that you perceive in the outer universe, in all beings, nothing whatsoever possesses any true existence at all. Nothing really exists. It's just that we think that it is real and we are attached to this idea. And that attachment is the confusion of sentient beings. For example, we are so serious about this planet because we think it's so real. And actually, it's just like any other star in the sky, any other planet that are come into existence and that are shattered, kind of collapse each and every day. And they do because they are compounded phenomena and therefore impermanent and empty of self-nature. This is what the Buddha had taught. And so therefore, there is nothing to be too spectacular about this particular planet. So really, when you think about each of the Buddha's words, you really you can really gain a very deep understanding. So, for example, all of our suffering comes from our grasping mind, and comes from karma. So, therefore, when there is no more grasping, when you let go of grasping in your mind, there is no more birth and there is no more death. And then just naturally, you overcome the Lord of Death. So there's this line that says, may I attain the empowerment of immortality, which overcomes the Lord of Death. That is overcome when the Lord of Death is conquered, when you realize that it's just the body that perishes, but the mind will not die. And so everything arises from this mind. And so all the obscurations come from this initial grasping at a duality. And then the four obscurations and so forth arise. So whatever you do in all activities, rest in the natural state of the mind, completely pure, without any grasping. That's really the ultimate thing. Otherwise, it all comes down to that, to grasping. Once you start grasping at a duality again, the mind becomes polluted, or it's just like pouring milk into water. It becomes somehow tainted. And then karmic imprints will remain within the mind. If you do not grasp, if there's no grasping and you just look at the mind, then no karmic imprint can be placed within the mind. So it is just when these thoughts of it's true or it's not true and so on arise within the mind, that is when we begin to create the karma of attachment and aversion. But when you know that there is no duality, everything is non-dual, then there is no more duality between karma to be accumulated and one who accumulates karma. Then in the Dzogchen, for example, now some people say that they are even like Dirtikas and so on, because maybe they do not really acknowledge the workings of karma, but saying that is just also not really knowing the nature of things. And also it could lead to a wrong view when it comes to karma. So this is how it is on the ultimate level. And ultimately, everything gathers into the Hung. And therefore, just let out a Hung, think of nothing, and look decisively at the natural state of the mind as it is said in the Mahamudra teachings. So say a Hung, meditate on the Hung, look at your mind, and think of nothing whatsoever, and rest in that state, decisively, looking at the mind, knowing the mind, without a single thought. And actually, within that, and within only that, all the views, everything is complete. So that is the practice of a single deity and a single mantra, syllable, and a single enlightened mind or intent. Everything becomes singular, like one taste. And that is the ultimate truth. So ultimately, that is the root of samsara and nirvana. It is your own intrinsic awareness.
로도 꼬바를 쉬었다가 다 나와 탑질라 사당적 거지 로도 꼬바를 쉬었다가 잡동 총코스 배다가 소시 받아 강리 다다 칼라서는 오 맞지 보고 싸요 나는 내고 내 코리에 나리 상고요리 마에 랑을 윌 서버 참만 보요리 다라 대상지 시간이 제답선은 살이 저도 살이 그런 게 저대요리 마다라스니 다다다다 심부동체리 차디요리 다마다 랑랑랑레요리 대섭지 셈다랑 것은 직바리 대신로 오 랑을 펑캉 잼치 삼치 마그시 방하지 펑가시 과정나 Kimchi Samba Leva Cho Chomos, or there's a lambs and all the same with Niji meats and the Kotosan sent it of charge of your. Then so that the Mangos are sorry, some Mongo your age. They thought the top was now a tiny. It's all there. 라리라면 도서를 홍 지점한데 라리라면 도서를 라양 컨셉으로 소지 빠졌어도 그지 다들 생각은 나와 참치 소지 대수를 받아지 당관이나 나와 노지 직대 또 용도 제로 주지 생제 또 말장 대해서 나시 대들이 소지랑 진성 땅 거요 소시 받을 때는 조용하라 롱쪽으로 넣나 조용하라 롱쪽이 되는 것도 잡을 뭐나 소나 도요 동화 설마 방데 도 마카스 도 차신 바설만들 소타지다 될 대징 신반 대심 매점 땅 매대라서 똑같은 지인들 설마 박 차토고 용을 차장도 봐 용을 대마야베네 사제 람냠 칸들 사제 사메 니가 되리고 당연히 맞아봐 또 봐야지 람냠들 칸들 색 참아티 무디 똑바로 색 그지 되면 다 매일 책 롱도 최샤송들이 사진 말은 저거 직접 매봐도 똥만이라죠 당마 똥만이래서 봐 돈이래 제다 돈이래 제 약간 말 소정을 쓰고 사양 온가 말도 홍성주대 잠배발 사양들은 온와 홍게 그래서 나와도 다 강해 다 옴지도 나와 강 아이 시대적으로 홍고 아이로 쭉 벗어서 홍고 시대적으로 옴들은 동호다 나와는 이제 다시도 나와 흐지도 또 정서가 쥐지는 또 말지 또 누용로 쫓다가 참지 람지 저거래 초제 바sam지를 가야 병게 람지 신이라고요 바sam지 근데 람지 라면 감성 엄아 홍지디 엄거에 람지 아송나지 홍톡지 람지 이 저선 되거든요 엄지 나과강 아이 쭉 벗어서 홍고 시대적으로 홍고 시대적으로 이제는 맞아봐도 내가 좀 따라갔다 이거 용띠는 또 통제랑 이거 저래 사지양 사리 사마야 사리 베테다 나오에 나와 롱주 라가 나와 롱주 지바테 베나디 랑랑도 용가데 조다 조지미바 세 나와 라가 나와라 우리 샤요레스 라가 나와라 우리 샤데요레스 데르들 라나 롱주 조소 다테르들이 홍홍고 이시졌다 저지 이시가 왕절서나 맨나 협정보너서 나 삼비미 소소랑의 시기여봐 소소랑을 보면은 이제는 또 매봐 너나 동거는 또 매봐 또 매봐 또 매봐 또 이거 되는데 너리 동거를 생각 차 맞아 봐 이 정도를 한 걸로 토지에서 사용하고 하는 이 시대의 장도 줘야 돼. 오, 사진 통도 참만 요바라더니 일이 맞아 봐. 내가 좀 맞다 그래. 그리대라 다세다 김치서 봐서 맞는더니 문에는 상하시 봐셔도 싫어나 선도 용하지 넘어가래 너무 좋다 넘어쪽 남순이 들은 용왕아 이 시간으로 시간 자가는 가야는데 사정 때 사정 삼을 때 달에 또 거기서 강만하는 듯이 강만이 이제 다되니 대요를 라라통 못 찾게 돼 무지 직격을 도착해서 살을 많이 봐 남지 롱주 허여 버렸더니 롱주 중에 이메봐 너는 이제 이메봐 가는 사고래 강리 말을 배서 따대로 마보 마시나 산나 돈이 강에서 정쟁반 그 살로인 돈이 등안이 직접 맞아 사전 참아들어 참아 정도로 상고 차대요 그래서 그랬더니 롱주 옆에서 쳐봐라 그래 나는 이렇게 나와 찾나들지 사소 탐제들이랑 그네 사콜로제디 포강식 빠지면 진지 서마서마한테 또 람스키네 너는 직접 마사를 들으셔야 되지 대사는 좀 마음이나 홍 tung jang bear jang jin, Mujima of the pie jang. Bear the young, owning on it, Jasung Tawatari, Dungna Pakama, on Gerard, the issues of the journal, the issues of the journality, something, Kakamai about it, Rotu, Rang how I wrote to Batal, so you deep I was sorrow in so. But there is.
So then on the next page, 17, we come to the feast offering. It refers to any time when we are eating. So, since we have a precious human body, we need to eat. And so Milarepa had said, I have the instruction for eating and drinking to become a feast offering, and for walking around to become circumambulation. So that is when one sees that all appearances are the deity. Then eating and drinking become a Ganachakra feast offering. So that is, now when you eat, normally we think that it's just me eating, and I want this and I don't want that, and so on. And so this is not then how we should eat and think when we are eating, but think that first of all, it's not just you eating, but there are hundreds and thousands of microorganisms living in your body. And we have said when we recognize the pure nature of the elements, then and the aggregates, then everything becomes the deity. Then when your aggregates, your elements become sealed with emptiness, then your entire body becomes the mandala of deities. In an impure state, then the body is like a city of bacteria, like these microorganisms. So whether or not it is pure depends on yourself, it depends on your own mind. But when recognized, the aggregates, sense bases, and elements are pure. We have said that the aggregates are the male and the female Buddhas, and the sense bases, the male and the female Bodhisattvas. And then the various activities and movements and joints are the wrathful, like the male and female wrathful ones. And so when you eat and drink at once, momentarily, without any thought, do not engage in any dualistic thinking whatsoever. And think, in general, have an awareness that it's not just me eating, but there's many beings who are being nourished by the food. So in this way, you're purifying your perception. And so it says then here, Hong, from the seed syllable at the heart of the Guru, my own awareness, emanate the syllables Ram, producing fire that burns away the karmic traces of the feast, Yam, generating wind that scatters them, and water born from Kam that cleanses them away. And so when your perception becomes pure, so how you see the feast offering then is that, there's a Dharma offering that is offered as a feast. So the vessel, the plate, is the entire outer universe, all appearance, and the content, the Dharma, becomes the inner sentient beings, which are then seen as all as an offering. So all appearance and existence becomes like an ornament or an offering. And so in this way, one partakes of the Ganachakra feast without grasping at duality. So again, how we should partake or enjoy sense objects is explained in the Samantabhadra prayer, where it says, when strong anger arises for you, neither reject nor accept it. Instead, relax in the natural state. So also that applies to the Ganachakra feast offering. Do not partake of anything, eat or drink anything with a mind grasping at a reality, your idea about it. For example, this is tasty and this is not, or this is clean and this is dirty, and so on. Because if you think in this way, then continuously very thick layers of karmic imprints will be placed within the mind. Many imprints of attachment and aversion. So rather eat within a state of non-duality. There is no duality between the one who eats or enjoys and that which is being enjoyed. So everything is empty in this sense. So if you eat and drink from within such a state without grasping at a concrete reality or any conceptual constructs about what you're eating and drinking, then just anything, the elements, earth, water, and fire, and wind, and so on, and space, are sealed with emptiness and recognized as the deity. So from the seed syllable hung at the heart of the guru, which is your own awareness and so on, then the syllables manifest. And so so we have the syllables hung, which is later. So after this, white, red, blue, hung emanate and dissolve into the feast. So these three syllables makes the substances fill all of space, pervades space. And then makes them become of perfect flavor. And hung then turns them, the offering substances, into an ocean of wisdom nectar. So in this way, the substances are consecrated with the hung. And so with the everything becomes vast, like space. So as you mentioned before, all outer appearance, the container is the Dharma vessel, the plate, and then the contents, all sentient beings, are like the offering of the Dharma. So it becomes vast. All appearance and existence is brought to mind when we make a feast offering. And so then also the syllables ahung represent the enlightened body, speech, and mind. So this is how the substances also are consecrated. So the represents the enlightened body, the the enlightened speech, and the hung, the enlightened mind. And so makes the substances vast like space. Turns them into perfect taste of flavor, and hung then transforms them into an ocean of wisdom nectar. And then ultimately, these substances lack inherent existence and temporarily appear illusory, but yet they lack any true existence. So everything is the deity. The one who eats and that which is being eaten is pure, is the deity by nature. So you are enjoying or partaking of your own self-projections. So there is no division between one who enjoys and something that is being enjoyed or eaten. So whatever appears is the self-light projection of your own mind, your own perception. So that is the rainbow-like Sambhogakaya and partaking of its own self-projections. And so in the Heart Sutra, for example, it mentions that the perfection of wisdom is that it is inexpressible in being beyond words and thoughts. And then also it says it is all the sphere of self-knowing awareness. So everything is brought under control through primordial wisdom when there is no grasping in the mind. So here, when you're eating or when you're drinking, eat and drink without grasping, then no imprint will be placed within the mind. So then it says, thus the feast turns into an ocean of wisdom nectar. So ultimately, primordially, although the substances are here, things are present, primordially they lack inherent existence. They appear temporarily like an illusion. But as we said, the appearances are the deity, and the sense bases are the male and female bodhisattvas and so forth. And so this is how we generally practice in the secret mantra when we partake or perceive the 5 sense or 6 sense objects, and their nature are the 5 or 6 dakinis. The nature of the 5 elements and the inner 5 wisdoms are the 5 Buddha families, Yap and Yum. So there is no duality between them. They are a union. There's no duality between one who eats and that which is being eaten. This is also explained in a prayer, a Jigungkagi prayer, the Serkangma, the Golden Temple, that kind of praises the incredible quality of the deity, the self kind of projection of the deity. So what is eaten is the deity, and the one who eats is the deity. Everything is non-dual. And so if that is all difficult to understand, Milarepa also had said that when you eat the food of emptiness. This is the way to eating while abandoning the dualistic grasping to a subject-object duality. So you eat within an empty state of mind. Then everything that you eat and drink becomes a Gana Chakra, a Tsok offering. So all appearances are the deity, are Sambhogakaya. The Tsok is Sambhogakaya, and therefore whenever you eat and drink within a state of non-duality, it all becomes a Gana Chakra feast offering. So we went back to the Ram, Yam, and Kam. So first you purify with those 3 syllables. You purify those substances. So the Ram is the fire that burns and the impurities away, and Yam is the wind that scatters them, and then Kam is water that cleanses them away. And then having purified them, then they are consecrated with Amahong, as you mentioned before, and you partake of them without grasping. And then in this way, now since your aggregates then become sealed with emptiness, then the 5 aggregates become the male and female Buddhas, and then the sense bases, the male and female Bodhisattvas, and the joints and so on, the male and female wrathful ones. So in brief, very directly, without a single thought, you are the deity, and there is no grasping thought within your mind whatsoever. So from within a state of emptiness, you partake of the feast substances. So this is how you eat, how you enjoy the sense objects, like Sambhogakaya, where there is no duality between the one who eats and what is being eaten. So the Sambhogakaya enjoys or partakes of its own self-projections from within a state of non-duality.
이 차다도 막 맞이야. 대답 돈인 거는 자서들이 윤몽 이 시간에 써야 돼. 들량이 어쨌든 대도 가는 이렇게 배제다고 뒤들이 다 다니고 너는 이제 뭐 하나 들었더니 소탑지에 라리 자잡 자르지 거들랑을 린들라 천랑상선 자았음 참았상 거요. 셈라마 류여담 리조랑 통진 간로서 들딩을 들다는 참조가 예스.
And thus the feast turns into an ocean of wisdom, nectar. So we mentioned this term wisdom a lot, the primordial wisdom a lot. It's very, very important to understand. And so that is when you rest within the natural state of the mind, within the view, without any grasping, nothing is to be abandoned. So Milarepa therefore said, when you eat within a state of emptiness, you naturally abandon dualistic thoughts of subject and object. So then, in brief, what that means is that when you are without dualistic grasping, then you will be able to eat anything at all. It makes all no difference. So basically, whatever there is, whatever comes your way, is enough, is fine. So what's the quality of primordial wisdom? It is that when wisdom awareness is sustained, then you will not cling to the thoughts arising, and therefore you will not create karmic imprints in the mind. And so the way we should understand purity or impurity, it has nothing to do with whether or not what you perceive, the outer, is pure or impure, because primordially everything is empty. It is just your own perception of pure or impure. There's nothing pure or impure at all when it comes to anything that you perceive, because everything is empty. And so if you understand that, then if you understand that when I'm eating, for example, there is no duality between me, the eater, and what is eaten, then no imprint can be placed within the mind. And that's what we call then, everything then becomes the feast, what you eat becomes an ocean of wisdom nectar. And so this term nectar is dutsi in Tibetan, and du actually means Mara or demon, and tsi is the elixir. And the Mara demon are the afflictive emotions, and the elixir are the 5 primordial wisdoms. So what is the Mara demon of the affliction here in terms of the eating of the feast substances, for example? It is to think that, oh, this tastes good, or this tastes awful, or I want this, but I don't want that. And this is so dirty, but this is so nice and so pure. So these kind of dualistic thoughts are that Mara demon here. And they arise in many different ways, coarse and subtle, these thoughts of attachment and aversion. And these are those imprints that continuously fall down like snowflakes accumulating. And so in this way, we form layers and layers of habitual imprints in the mind. So based on those tendencies, we then continue to accumulate karma, which will then also ripen. So wisdom awareness is, as you partake of these various things, enjoy the sense pleasures, have not a single thought about them. When the mind is pure, you are free of all faults. So the Mara demon, are our thoughts of attachment and aversion. And when they do not arise and you eat from within a state of emptiness, then the 5 afflictive emotions turn into nectar, into the 5 wisdoms. So, and then whatever you eat becomes like a nectar, like an ocean of wisdom nectar. So then, if you're in a state of practice, actually, as long as you are in a state of practice, you can enjoy any of the sense pleasures, as long as you are in such a non-dual state. And so now we will go for lunch, the Ganan Chakra Feast offering, and we should sustain awareness of our body to be the mandala of the deity. And as you mentioned before, the embodiment of the three jewels and the three roots and the three kayas. So, for example, when you rest within the natural state of the mind, then your body becomes the mind becomes the guru, and the body becomes the yidam, and your activities then become the dakini. So now we stop the teachings here.
We'll do dedication prayers in the yellow prayer book on page 18, Lord Jigdan Sumgun's dedication. Glorious, holy, venerable, precious, kind root and lineage gurus, divine assembly of yidams, assemblies of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, heroes and heroines, yogini and her assembly of dakinis, all you dwelling in the 10 directions, please heed me. By the power of this vast root of virtue, may I benefit all beings through my body, speech, and mind. May the afflictions of attachment, hatred, ignorance, pride, and jealousy not arise in my mind. May thoughts of fame, reputation, respect, honor, and concern for this life not arise for even a moment. May my mind stream be moistened by loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta, and may I become a spiritual master with good qualities equal to the infinity of space. May I gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra in this very life. At the moment of death, may I not experience the suffering of being abruptly severed from this life. May I not suffer a terrible death. May I not die confused by wrong views. May I not experience an untimely death. May I die joyfully and happily in the great luminosity of the mind itself, in the crystal clarity of Dharmata. May I in any case gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra at the time of death, or in the bardo. For this realm encircled by snow-covered mountains, you are the source of all benefit and happiness. Tenzin Gyatso, Lord Chenrezig, may you remain steadfast until the end of samsara. Embodiment of the 3 jewels, great being who upholds and increases the teachings of the Shakya lion, supreme are your activities of guiding others with your perfect deeds. May you, the precious Guru who accomplishes everything spontaneously, live long. Holder of the teaching of the Lord Rigumpa, great Lord of the 3 jewels, through the power of your peerless compassion and the holy Dharma's peace and light, you bring relief to beings. May your life be long. The one known in the noble land as Arya Deva emanated into the Gar clan of eastern Tibet as Tsewang, the heart son of Jigdan Gompo. May the life of the glorious Garchen remain steadfast for 100 eons. Page 28. May the teachings of the great Drigumpa Ratna Shri, Master of Interdependence, Omniscient Lord of Dharma, who has seen all knowable things, be upheld until the end of psychic existence, through study, practice, hearing, contemplation, and meditation. Your 1,000 arms are the 1,000 wheel-turning kings. Your 1,000 eyes are the 1,000 Buddhas of this fortunate eon. Your love is boundless like space. I supplicate to the Bodhisattva, Chenrezig. Om Mani.
Bo De Sa
On behalf of the worldwide Sangha, we would like to thank you, Your Eminence Garchen Rinpoche, for bestowing such incredibly profound teachings to us and guiding us with your infallible wisdom and compassion. And so I'd like to make an offering on behalf of the worldwide Sangha for your bestowing this empowerment and teachings of Tsewang Dzinpa.
Thank you all the disciples for listening, and thank you for organizing and preparing this event, and everyone who also joined on the live stream.
I also want to let people know that Garchen will be continuing to finish the commentary for Tsewang Dzinpa into January. So the next commentary teaching will be January 9th in the morning at 10:30. It's on our website. And I also want to thank all of the lamas for that the visiting lamas that traveled to come here and quarantined and made such a beautiful effort to lead us in the Namgyalma practice, Lama Tupta Nima's Umzang, for 5 days, early morning hours. And thank you so much for also answering our questions and for also sharing your experiences of Guru devotion for Garchen Rinpoche. We've gotten a lot of emails, and students have all really benefited from your sharing and all of the practice and all of the question and answers. So thank you all. I also want to thank Abu Lama for doing all the Torma preparation for the Long Life ceremony and all the organization for that event, and for Lama Bunima's help and Ani Dagme's help, and of course Ani Samten's help, and then of course we wouldn't have understood anything without Ina. So thank you so much for translating nonstop, and then of course none of you would have been able to see it online if we didn't have Billy doing all the streaming. So thank you so much, Billy, for all of your excellent work on getting these online streams perfected. And then, of course, we wouldn't have all been able to keep going all week without food. So thank you so much to Padma and the work study team for all of your really hard work in the kitchen. And thank you to Ilana for your tea service, for all of the lamas, early morning tea service. So overall, we also thank all of the translators around the world for translating it into Chinese and Russian and Vietnamese and Spanish and Polish. So really all together, it's been a very auspicious event, week-long event, and for everybody's practice, for the Namgyalma mantra accumulations, and so we're all very grateful, and may this be an auspicious year for everyone. And just to remind people that we are going to gather again this afternoon. The lamas will lead us in a Tsewang Dzinpa practice session. So you all have that video online you can reference in the future. And then Drupal Rinchen Dorje has kindly agreed to answer the last questions. We're not accepting any more questions, so only the ones that have already been emailed. So that will happen right after the Tsewang Dzinpa practice. And then just to follow up on yesterday, the offering that Susu made of the life story book on Garchen Rinpoche's life story, please email her directly. Don't email the Institute because she'll need to answer your email. So her email is on our homepage, the website, garchen.net. So just look on the homepage for her email information. Okay, thank you so much, everyone, and we'll see you this afternoon.
Thank you, everybody. Sangha. Bye bye.